Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Monster, episode 72.
We are on the last 3 episodes of this show. It's kind of unreal. And Grimmer's gone.
He's gone. And Lung might die this episode too.
Yeah. Yeah, after all, he doesn't have a shotgun-toting Ava to back him up, so, you know, anything could happen.
Yeah, Anna's here with Dr. Gillen.
Yep.
So we have a lot of people that could bite it.
A lot of bad stuff that could happen.
And Johan still hasn't made his direct move or appearance yet.
Yeah, Yep.
Well,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is absolutely crazy.
Hopefully Roberto goes down this episode.
Yes, hopefully.
The guy has lived
down.
The guy has lived far longer past his way past his expiration
He's survived too long.
Yes, he's some
many things.
He's some sour milk at this point. He's gotten chunky.
Like, yeah, there's some cheese between those toes, and it needs to go down.
We need to pop, double tap. All right,
that's right.
So Tenma, keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
We've lost Grimmer, but we can still do a lot of good here. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
This could be a distraction, though. Like, they cut away from this last episode, and that makes me very worried. He would have heard you by now. Yeah, no one's in there. Yep,
Yep. Was that his imagination, basically wondering what if someone was... Oh. Jeez.
Wow.
No. Crap.
That was an arm shot.
That's a shoulder. No, not like this.
No
Lung.
way.
Come on.
Of course. And then pop. Lung shoots him.
Crap.
No, Lung's not actually dead.
I think he's dead.
He had pistols too. He could have had one that, like, under the chair. You know?
Oh, he did have a pistol. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh. Transitioning to this right after we lost Lung, potentially. Like, he was a good man, you know?
Yeah. But the fact that they're doing this means Lung's probably alive.
I mean, he's probably not dead yet.
赤いバラの屋敷でルンゲ警部が見つけたものだそうです。
Oh.
君のことをずっと見ていた。君のすべてを食い尽くすために見ていた。崩れかかった私が君にはどのように見えただろうか。崩れかかった私に君が与えてくれたもの。
Okay.
君は美しい宝石を残してくれた。一番罪なことは人の名前を奪い去ること。君に名前を返そう。君の名はアンナ。今はただ悲しい。悲しい。悲しい。悲しい。
私は双子の母親に恋をした。一瞬にして考え方が変わった。それで彼女のことを、双子のことを、実験のことを知っているすべての人間を殺した。
That started this.
Yep.
Wow. Nice, Lung.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God, he shot him from underneath the chair.
Yep.
What a badass.
ヨハンはどこにいる？なぜそうしてヨハンに従う？奥さん、他の男と暮らしているよ。幸せそうにね。その男のことをおじいちゃん。
That's cruel.
黙れ。孫は可愛く成長している。黙れ。会いたいよね。黙れ。
Oh crap.
落ちぶれたもんだな。
Wow. Oh! Lung! Oh my God, oh my God. Oh, Lung's way older. Yeah. Oh my God.
気がつけば施設から出て仕事をこなしていた。
Wow.
俺の前にヨハンが現れた。
He worked at Kinderheim.
彼は俺の
Or he was a kid from Kinderheim, like Grimmer.
たった一つの記憶を。
Whoa.
施設にいたんだって。
Wait.
で
Yeah.
も言ってた。他のことはみんな忘れてるのに。
No way.
Wow.
Wait. So Roberto was the chocolate
The other
milk.
kid, yeah.
Or wait.
描くのが好きで虫が好きでその子の名前は確か
Wow. So
Wait.
Johan gave him back his name.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my gosh.
So Roberto is the nephew of the guy, the
Right,
crime boss
right.
guy.
Yep.
一杯のカップを差し出した。
Oh.
思い出したんだ。俺は温かいココアが大好きだったんだ。
What the heck?
Holy crap.
What the heck?
雨がすべて
Ah.
何もかもきれいに流してくれればいいのに、あの日もこんな雨だった。
Dang. Klaus Puppet was the one that came to the house and killed them.
Oh.
あなたも亡命者。
Wow.
チェコスロバキア
Dang.
知っているって合わせてください。寝顔だけでも。
Wow.
あのように惨劇が起きた。
Yep.
So did he kill them now, or did Johan?
殺して
No. Wow.
私には一体何が起きたのかわからなかった。いや、分かっていたのに、全て分かっていたのに、逃げ出したのだ。
Wow. Yeah, Johan did it.
Right. That's
Right.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
何もかも考えるのをやめ、逃げ出した。私は怪物を作ってしまったんだよ。
Roll credits.
私はその怪物を蘇らせてしまった。
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
They're not
Let's
going to
go.
end the episode here, though,
No,
are
no,
they?
no, 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 no. We still got more to go.
彼は最後に残って一人ぼっちになる。
Oh my
一人で
gosh.
寂しく死んでいく。名前もなくね。
Wow.
これがヨハンの計算だ。ドクター・テンマはヨハンの見た風景を見ることを許された。俺もその風景を見たい。
Oh, that face.
俺は見たい。ルンゲ警部。あんた
Come on, Lung.
あんたは死ぬ。これもヨハンの計算だ。
Ah! Struggle, fight! Yeah! Oh! Lung! What a badass!
計算だと。私の頭の中のコンピューターではそんな計算は成り立たん。ヨハンはどこだ？
Oh my god!
Oh, crap.
ここにはいない。どこかからこの様子を見てる。
Somewhere high up.
を見るように。
助けに来たんだ。
Oh.
ほら、何も持ってない。な、大丈夫だろう。
絵の女の人だ。
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
絵の女の人って同じ顔の男の子と双子の絵だよ。
Oh, the sound design in this show. They know how to just unsettle you in an instant.
どこで見たの？
Oh, that's where
Oh.
Johan is.
Yeah.
の高台の
Yeah, of course.
吸血鬼の家。
Yep, on a hill. It's raised up.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
Wow. Oh, man. Oh, crap.
俺の息子知らねえか。
Oh, jeez.
はどこ行っちまったんだよ。この町に悪魔が来たんだ。
Okay.
ここにはもう誰もいないようだ。
Okay, so they're already here.
ただいま。お帰り。ただいま。ただいま。お帰り。私ね、怖いものを見たの。とっても怖いもの。たくさんの人が死んでいったの。赤いバラの屋敷。みんなお酒を飲んだの。そうしたらみんな苦しんで折り重なるように私の目の前で。お母さんはどこ？
What?
ごめんね。何を謝ってるの？
Whoa.
あの時。
She's doing the whole conversation for both of them.
なんで泣いてるの？泣かないで！泣かないで！泣かないで！泣かないで！ついさっきまでこの部屋で一人で。
Whoa.
あの時みたいに泣いてた。あの雨の夜、私が撃たなければ、私が許してあげていれば、こんなこと
Wow.
は続かなかった。
ヨハンは今
街に降りた。すべてを終わりにするために。
Okay.
All right. Yes.
And Roberto's still not dead. Like,
We have 2 more episodes after this.
yeah, only 2. Only 2.
I know. Ugh.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
Johan's here. He's moving.
He's in
moving
town.
and grooving.
Yeah.
And Roberto is from Kinderheim. And not only is he from Kinderheim, but he is the very kid that Grimmer knew.
Yep.
He's the nephew
Adolf Reinhardt.
Adolf Reinhardt, the nephew that they told us about as the emotional, like, you know, anchor for this other guy that's this, you know, crime boss, military dude, whatever. And then just, you know, no big deal. That's actually one of the characters that we've already been introduced to. Yeah, no big deal at all.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Just
wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Was it Colonel Ronka?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, there have been a lot of military type people that could
Well, not
be
only
Ronka.
that, there was all the people that were involved with the not the military people, but the secret police.
Right,
secret
exactly.
police
Yep. But wow. Okay. So that's a thing. And Lung's not dead. Like
Lung's still alive. What a badass shooting him through the chair.
I called it. Like, that was some Han Solo stuff right there. Like, it was wonderful.
Mean, they had to be one shot, so you're right. If it was 2 shots, then it would have been a little bit.
And in proper fashion, Roberto didn't get a chance to fire.
Yep.
Because Lung shot first, and he was the only one who shot. Well, I mean, you know, Roberto shot him before, but it's besides the point.
But the thing that's crazy, though, is then their whole encounter and stuff, we get to see Roberto's character doing the whole backstory of a side character equals horrible, tragic death. So he's going to die.
Right.
But his whole thing about talking about Johan's calculation, that Tenma will be the last man standing.
Yeah.
Everyone will die. Tenma,
including Tenma, it seems.
Well, no.
Once he's alone.
No. The idea is that once Tenma's alone, he will forsake his name. He'll have created basically.
Right. When they say Tenma will die alone, is it a thing of like he will be killed when he's alone, or it's just that he'll be alone until he dies, kind of a thing?
Right. Yeah. And if anything, it's something where it doesn't even have to be like truly the last man standing.
Right.
It's more just this whole thing is something where Tenma will obviously show up, and at the very end,
Yep.
This whole thing's going to be pinned on Tenma. See, it's perfect because Tenma was essentially Johan, according to Lung, until recently.
Mm-hmm.
So now this whole thing's going to fit just perfectly right. There's this mass slaughter and everything like that, and Johan will kill himself.
Right, except for the fact, that Anna has given Galen recorded testimony.
Well, they have to die then, too, in order
right,
for
they have to
Johan's...
die, and the recordings have to be destroyed.
Yep.
And
we only have 2 more episodes left.
Yeah, only 2 more episodes.
I'm actually a little bit worried now.
Me too.
Because I don't think you can really do a true final ending without another episode or 2 in addition to that.
Because the thing is that the stuff with Roberto and Lung, that was great, especially with Roberto's backstory and everything, and watching how Lung responded to everything, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of I have you, I've won, no, I've won, no, I've won, no, I've won.
Yeah. You can only do so much.
You can only do so much with that. And and I feel like maybe basically just with the amount of stuff that happened in the previous episode, even though that was mainly just the episode where Grimmer dies, kind of.
Right.
It felt like not a whole lot happened this episode, but it did get to the stuff with Johan, but then Johan wasn't there, so...
Well, they're touching base, I would say, with the very beginning of the show.
Yes.
It's a form of recap in order to make sure that we all understand fully how everything went down. But there was a lot of new...
all the threads for full circle. Yeah.
Right, but there was a lot of new contextual info with regards to Klaus Papa and the letter.
Yeah. And the idea...
that letter.
Yeah, right, because we saw that before, but we didn't really have context. Mm-hmm. And we didn't necessarily get the full implications of the no name and all that stuff, and who the mom was, because we hadn't gotten her backstory at that point.
Well, the mom, who she was, is
irrelevant. She was a nobody. But
the idea that in some ways we were right to suspect that Klaus Papa was
the father,
because he wanted to be the father in a lot of ways.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He saw them as his own children in a lot of ways, and then and the fact that him going to the Liebert's house, just to see the kids again, and to see basically to know that they're smiling, that basically freaked out Johan enough. I think this is what they're setting up. That freaked out Johan enough of someone from the past came here,
right?
So he kills them, and he's like, all right, we need to disappear. We just need to go and,
Well, no. It's even worse than that. It's not disappear. Shoot me.
Well, that was when... depending on if it was his plan for her to figure out that he killed them or not. Because she pieced it together. Although I think he had the gun... Yeah. But but at least basically
he pointed at the forehead.
Right. He did that after she was like, "Oh my God, you did it."
And I think he's basically saying you can be free now.
Right, exactly.
And this was his first attempt at just ending this suffering, this madness that he had been through.
And by telling her to do it, it would hopefully make it so that way she would be able psychologically forgive that it happened or something.
I think what it is also is just that if she does it, it'll be so traumatic that she'll forget in a lot of ways.
And if
she'll be able to live a new life.
And if the police were able to figure out that say this 9-year-old boy shot himself, after his parents had been killed, that probably would have been a bit strange. So making it seem like it was just this crazy murderer that came in and killed everybody, and then left, and Anna just happened to survive.
Yeah. If they wanted to go extra in depth into it, they could have had a thing of where Johan maybe was either an opportunist and when a person came in to try and rob them and stuff like that, Johan then made his move, scared out the person with the gun, shot the family and stuff like that, and then did that, or Johan threw smashed out the window with something, made sure that it looked like someone came in and stuff like that, and then went and did the whole thing. And Anna wasn't, on board with it. So he's basically like, that's okay. You don't have to be on board with this.
Right.
It's going to be okay. You're going to be able to be free. Just do this right here.
Right. And then throw the gun away after. Yeah.
I think she would do that, regardless of whether or not.
Well, something traumatic like shooting your brother. That, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if she's just catatonic. Kill him, and she still has the gun. But yeah, that would have been interesting. But okay, so they figured out where Johan would have gone, and it was to the place where Klaus Pape lived, and made the drawings and everything. And I love that whole thing of him trying to draw them happy, but not being able to finish it, like, because that's not how
it's not real.
It's not real. Yeah. Exactly. That was excellent. It took something that basically was originally just like this creepy, freaky thing, and it's like, oh,
yeah, it made it sad.
Yeah,
it's really sad.
And the idea that Johan goes there as well, and is crying, and even grown up Johan, and the whole thing of where's my mommy, like we don't have perfect context for the conversation Anna was having, recalling, or imagining, like predicting.
There was a part of it that was the memory tied to when the Red Rose Mansion massacre happened. So there is that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So right. So that conversation could have happened like when all the bodies were just lying everywhere, and Franz Bonaparte is the only one left, and before running, that's the conversation that happened or something.
I mean, there's two conversations. There's one where there's three parties involved. And I believe it's the mother.
Okay.
Or yeah, you're right. Or it's Klaus Pape and Anna. Anna in the Red Rose Mansion after everyone died and stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's the other conversation of the Okairi, welcome home, I'm back,
Right.
And then them talking to each other, Johan and Anna.
Right. And sharing everything so that they both have all the same information and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that was intense.
And what's Johan gonna do? Like, he's going to go end it all. Okay. What's that gonna look like? Like,
I think he's just gonna make sure everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Basically, all the dangerous people, according to Keikaku, are dealt with now. And Johan basically just comes in and cleans up the mess, like the last remaining bits.
Sure.
I would assume on some level Johan's the most dangerous person to give a gun to, because, even more than someone like Roberto, because Roberto has all this ego, like those little things of him, like, twisting off the arm off of Lung and stuff like that, and instead of then just like systematically like breaking his arm and then going in and picking up the gun and shooting him,
exactly. Yeah.
He has to basically drink in the
he has to gloat, and that's what the issue ended up being with Tenma, which is why Tenma was able to shoot him in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a horrible, tragic thing also, though, for Roberto to end up finding out that in some ways the only person out there that ever truly could have saved him was Grimmer.
Yeah.
And
Grimmer, I mean, think about that.
Like, Grimmer just never encountered him again.
Okay. Like, I talked about how I wanted Grimmer and Roberto to have a showdown.
Right.
Imagine how that would have gone.
Yeah.
Like, would they have recognized each other? I don't know.
No.
There's a very good possibility that they wouldn't have. But they might have. And if Roberto had, like, done his research and everything, I don't know what he necessarily would have been able to get on Grimmer, since Grimmer doesn't really exist, just like him.
Yeah.
And that would have been even worse, is if, like, one of them killed the other, and then, like, as they're dying, right?
And then he's like, "Hey, can I have some hot cocoa?"
Yeah,
and there was Grimmer or Roberto.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah. That would have. Yeah.
But the way that Johan found him, just blows my mind. Like, that he then just goes from there and is like, here's your name.
Right. And the idea that because Johan probably went through so much of the same stuff, he just knows. He just gives him a cup of cocoa. He's like, oh yeah, that I could totally see that being the only thing that someone has to latch on to, during that time. Like, yeah.
Also, the crazy idea that Johan ended up going to, Kinderheim as kind of a that was kind of an accident in a lot of ways. If you think about it from Klaus Pape's perspective, like he He didn't manipulate that or anything.
Same thing for Roberto. You know, like...
And then it ends up being this thing of where Johan, you know, realizes how easily he used everyone in the entire orphanage and stuff to kill each other and stuff. And he's like, I wonder if there are others that are out there that graduated that I could use. Goes on a hunt to find them and stuff. It'd be interesting to find out on some level, just a little bit of a TLDR from Johan of what those 10 years were like. What did he do? Like,
right.
Because a lot of it you can't really go too in depth into because of just
making sure that there's no plot holes that you introduced by giving detail.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And we don't need it, really.
Right. The imagination fills in everything. The idea is that it's plausible that Johan would have been able to do the things that he could do given
enough time.
Given enough time and how crazy Johan is with his capabilities and whatnot.
It's just horrifying to think, like, how much of this is ending with people that have had their identity and who they are stripped from them.
Well,
and how much of that is also a thing of where the people that have had their identity stripped from them have affected the ones that are here currently.
Well,
like Tenma, for instance.
Well, and here's another thing to think about. So you know how they had that whole conversation. Tenma had that conversation with the lady at the orphanage that Anna stayed at. Of don't compare us to Kinderheim, right? You know, and the idea that kids need love and whatnot, and that whole thing that was set up of how Anna and Johan kind of were able to go their separate directions because of you know, the actions of one person, right?
Yeah, and that one person ended up saving Anna.
Right.
Like,
well, here's a thought.
Yeah.
If Johan had gone up to Grimmer and offered him Coco.
I mean, you know, the equivalent of, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but it might, you know, it could very well have just been Coco. You know, like, like that Grimmer could have been could have ended up in the same position as Roberto.
Oh, absolutely.
And in the same way, maybe if, you know, even if it wasn't Grimmer, you know, because of course Grimmer probably would have been able to affect Roberto in some way, but
sure.
But if it had been, you know, just someone that said a kind word, right? You know,
right.
Just anything really, right? Would that have been able to change Roberto? You know, who knows?
It's crazy.
Yep.
Big I would say foreshadowing though of how Johan's going to be defeated though, with Anna empathically understanding exactly how Johan would react here. Now here's something that I find actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Is that Johan sees the false reality of the two of them kids happy together and such, and starts crying.
Yeah.
According to Anna, which I'm going to take her, everything she says is basically the 100% true. Even though she's the one who's actually struggling to maintain her grip on reality the most.
And there's still that part of me that's paranoid, even though I know that it's not going to happen, but is paranoid that at some point they're basically going to say, yeah, Anna and Johan switched. You know, like, yeah. But
no.
I know they're not going to, because like we've gone down that line of reasoning and we figured out the exact points where it's like, no, that's definitely not the case.
Yeah, exactly.
But still,
okay.
The fear.
Okay. But here's something that I find to be very, very interesting here. I think that Roberto is wrong about Johan's calculation. I think that Roberto is forgetting something, basically. That Johan's whole journey up until this point has been one, I would say, it's something that's kind of extrapolating a bit heavily, but it's something that has led him to, well, he did encounter his sister recently in the mansion there. But I think that was to push her again, just to give her a little push. But
right,
the thing that strikes me as being something that doesn't fit here is that if he wants Tenma to be the last person standing, that means he has to kill his sister. And what I think that means is that he's either resolved that his sister has suffered enough and needs to be needs the sweet release of death, basically, in order to be free.
Sure.
But Anna has changed. Anna has grown. Anna has been set free in a lot of ways. Not just because of Tenma's actions, but because of her own actions. And we're headed towards, I think, a finale where Johan might not be able to reconcile past Anna, his desires, and who Anna is right now. So I could see this being a thing where they talk down Johan.
Yeah.
Like, I could see this being a thing where they literally, the two of them, Tenma and Anna...
Successfully? Or attempt?
Semi-successfully.
Because the thing is,
Johan still has to win.
Right, Johan still has to win, and we always knew this was going to end in a conversation.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, it is a conversation than a gunshot. That's right, the question.
Exactly. Yeah, and how many gunshots? And
just one.
And
just one.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. That's
the
thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the thing. I think the way they can end this is that they end it in a very sad way. Is that
they could definitely do it.
They definitely okay. Whoa. I just got like a vision, a scene just played out in my head in a split second. All
right.
They talk.
Uh-huh.
Anna and Johan have their moment, and Tenma shuts up and just basically is just there. And Johan, it looks so confident and stuff. And then Anna basically just shows him her own raw emotion, her happiness, and what she's found now in her freedom. And Johan is unwilling to accept it. He's like, that's not real. You're playing a game with yourself. He's like, and then he does something like, look, I can do the same thing. And he puts on the face, and she starts crying for him. And he's just like,
and they hug it out?
Well, no, they don't hug it out. It's something where, he's... I think on some level, part of the reason why I think he also has to be in a high place, Jacob, is because I think he might not trust them necessarily to do it himself. So he's at a place where he could just fall off a cliff and just kill himself that way.
Sure.
But I think he's going to, in the final conversation, try and convince Anna that the sweet release of death is the only way out for her. That she's not really free. That she's pretending and that she thinks she can be free.
And that's probably what he tried to do before when Tenma found her.
Yes, that's exactly what he did. And he did a really good job at it.
Yeah.
But I think because that happened, though...
And that she's still here.
And it won't happen again.
Sure.
And that in some ways she brought up this dredged up memory and everything like that. She's almost totally reconciled. She's almost fully come to bear with everything that's happened in the past.
Right. Well, I would say she has, and now it's the question of Johan. And
right.
And I could definitely see them doing something where it's either them trying to hug it out or them talking him down from a ledge or whatever, and maybe it seems like it's going to go well, but then in the end, nope. He takes that step, he pulls that trigger, Yeah.
Yeah, I think if in some ways the one thing that might make this where it still works, I would say a little bit with Johan winning, is that Tenma kills Johan.
Maybe.
And basically, Johan does the villain thing, but it's less cheesy and less stupid. It's more the thing of, here are your choices. You let me live, blah, 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 blah. You kill me, blah, 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 blah. I kill myself, blah, 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 blah. Everyone here dies. He starts listing off the things there. He's like, come on, Tenma, do the right thing. Save everyone. And then Tenma, raise the gun.
Or they could do something where he... Because, the one way where I think Tenma could potentially be brought to kill Johan, maybe, because we've seen him again and again not be able to kill people when they are clearly bad and need to be taken out, right? Is if Johan basically says something along the lines of, like maybe he has a gun and he's about to kill himself, but his hands are shaking or something like that, and he's like... And basically ask Tenma to do it. Now I don't think...
Do it for me?
Yeah, do it for me. Right, exactly.
That might actually work also in a lot of ways because that's kind of like what he had Anna do.
Right.
Like he couldn't do it himself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's part of his programming.
Or
like he can't maybe, actually kill himself.
And in the case of Anna, I feel like he could have, but it wouldn't have achieved the same objective. Sure. Whereas like here, like he could go the thing of, it's okay, you know, it was a miracle that you were able to save me.
Right.
But I'm not supposed to exist in this world.
Right. I have no name. I'm no one.
Right. Exactly. Let me disappear. You know.
Right. That's again though something where I feel like Anna's going to be very important.
Right.
In that final moment.
Mm-hmm.
And she will either give him a name,
or she'll give him the courage,
or she'll she'll just say brother. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And. Nah, yeah. No, I know, Jacob, but like what we're looking at right here is the contradiction between the child who is, I would say, scared running, but also the adult that has Machiavellian schemed his way into this position perfectly, and we can't really justify the two together. You need to basically have one be in dominion over the other.
Well, I mean, hey, internal conflict, there you go.
Yeah, and I think that internal conflict will be exacerbated to the point of a 50-50, basically coin flip between Anna's words and Tenma's actions. So,
yeah, it's it's gonna be crazy.
I think we don't have really much story left, Jacob.
Nope, we don't. We have
2 episodes left.
They can't have the Johan is in another castle thing happen again, really. So
no. So we're seeing Johan in the next episode.
Yep.
And in the episode after that, they're probably going to spend, I would say, 10 minutes at least on the conversation.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll have to say about this episode is that I really like how they did the backstory with Roberto, because the thing is that backstory right before a character probably dies, especially a villain, is nothing new, right?
Yeah.
But there was a problem that I always had with Roberto, and that's why Roberto. Right?
Yeah.
He just seemed like a random character that was brought out, and it's like, okay, I get it, but Johan could have access to tons of people that can kill people, right?
Right.
What
why
makes
him?
Roberto special?
Exactly.
Why is he constantly surviving? Why is he constantly mucking things up in the plot? You know, why are we seeing him do stuff instead of Johan, right? We know exactly why now, and the way they connected that to Grimmer, even though it's something that will never be brought to light from the character perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because Lung didn't know Grimmer, you know, like not really, and he certainly didn't know about the Coco thing, right? But we know, and we can know right before, you know, Roberto dies, and you know, after Grimmer's dead, oh wow, you know, even Roberto, he used to be a little kid too that just really liked Coco.
Yeah, for real. I'm trying to bring up something I remember in the episode being something that just kind of stuck out to me as being like,
what?
Really, really heavy, just really emotional and stuff. So there's the whole thing of Lung getting taunted by the grandson thing and stuff, which I thought was amazing. And by the way, can we just give another shout out to Lung's badass thing of grabbing the wound? The wound. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then cutting over to Wim as he's the one that
right. Yep.
Yeah.
And talking about Grimmer and all that stuff, and Yep.
But the way they set up Klaus Pape to kind of be looking at the way that his sins essentially are being put on full display here, what he's done and stuff, and then saying everything. It says
it would have been nice if everything
washed away. But it's like, however, in actuality, the complete opposite happened. Everything was blown out of proportion.
It was raining like this on that day as
well. Basically, the idea that he's saying that every little action he did, in a lot of ways, pales in comparison to the smallest little bit of weakness or the smallest little bit of humanity he felt like he was even worthy of showing. Like the idea that he felt like he deserved even the slightest bit of time to see the kids and stuff. Like, this is something that I really find hard to write, at the very least, or to see how it can be written well. The idea of a character who is despairing and also in deep regret. One of the things that's hard to make their character just done well is having their their actions feel like something that I don't know, has meaning to them.
Like actions post regret or pre regret. Like
pre-regret, basically. Like they go back to them and be like they can't view them as anything other than through the lens of regret.
Well, and that's why, because you know, it's the whole thing of the why, how, what. You know, there's the what of the things that that Klaus Papa did, and there's the how, and all of that is very despicable, and even the why, you know, potentially, but then there's a stronger why that causes that complete and utter change,
right?
And then, you know,
but just the idea that when he goes over there, he says on the television, he says there was happy standing
with your two children,
and basically that the children, that happiness and that just enjoyment and stuff, and that thing that maybe he would have wanted if he was able to solidify the relationship with their mother. He, in some ways, he probably views it through the lens of his selfishness and his lack of foresight, and just how broken he is. But it's the kind of thing where the actual character decisions and stuff like that he did fit within who his character was at the time. I think what I'm meaning when I say that there's it's hard to find meaning in that is that sometimes when you see characters do things and they're filled with regret because of the things that they did and stuff, you have trouble a little bit reconciling the motivations by which that brought them to those decisions, especially if they're, I would say, not really pre-regret, because that's probably the wrong way to say it, but they're mid-regret, meaning that he's already filled with regret in this whole spot right here.
Oh, I would say this is post.
Oh, yes.
Because it's post he got regret and killed everyone at the
right. But I'm saying the regret is still with him now.
Yes.
So he's dwelling in regret, and that's what brings him up here. But he's so cowardly, in my opinion, that he doesn't even want to see them awake. He's not even willing to risk anything here because one, they could probably say like, this man, you know, is a murderer or something like that.
But that's another crazy thing. Like, not that he would have been able to have this conversation with them really with the Lieberts there and whatnot.
Right.
But if he had just talked to Johan. Right? If he had talked to Johan.
Just once.
And been like,
it might have changed everything.
It might have changed everything because he would have been like, that's fine. I'm
so sorry.
You guys looked like you were doing great, and I just wanted to see you to know that you guys are actually happy. You know, like, you know, everything I did was so that you guys might be able to be happy. You know, like, there you go. Then Johan's one that probably would have done wonders for Johan with his mental and emotional and psychological state and everything.
Hopefully, yeah.
But also, he would have known. Oh, okay. I don't have to worry about this, you know.
Right.
Like, he really did erase everything, you know.
Now, unfortunately, I don't know if the Lieberts would have let him speak to Johan alone.
Probably not.
Because he's a random stranger coming to see a kid, you know, late at night. There's a couple creepy factors going on here and stuff.
Yep, totally.
Just with that. So that's a big deal. But the idea that, you know, that night, that very night. Like, that's when everything happened and stuff. And then we are, you know.
Wow.
You know, we're here today and stuff. So, y'all, this show. Really crazy stuff. We have 2 episodes left. Get hyped for Monster Finale, and then poll upcoming on our Patreon very soon. So, if you are watching this in public on YouTube and you're not on our Patreon yet, go check out the link in the description below for that. You can get on early access there and watch the next episode's reaction right now. Any level of support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us about this show, non-spoiler, of course. You can get involved in these upcoming polls.
There's even full lengths on there.
And there's also full lengths as well. Yes. So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.